2 likes. Nobody in here yet. It's so weird. 3 likes, and it says nobody's here. Gotta love it. Hey, Jesse Good, how are you? Conscious Wanderer, how are you? I'm doing better. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Jeb Smith, how are you? Brian Mons, my friend, how are you? I really battled that flu. It was the worst. They gave me some other kind of medicine like four days ago and said that I had and it's just been shit since. So Tony Lynch, all the way from the Republic of Ireland. Thank you for joining us, my friend. Rando, how are you? Nick Carroll, how are you? Troy, how are you, my friend? Good to see everyone tonight. Aramaic! A little bit, my friend. Lee, how are you? Donnie Combs, what's up? Just good. How are you? Wesley September, Marcy, Alonzo, how are you, my friend? S. Cosman, Tyler 420, what's up, my brother? So nice to see you here. Sonic Fox, Jager, how are you? Jagermeister. Gavin Rogers, traveling through Iowa. Won't be participating. Be safe. Please drive safe. I am feeling a little better. I'm feeling a lot better. I've been looking forward to the live stream. I took a shot of testosterone like 3 hours ago, hoping it would help me feel better. I was like, fuck it. Let's do it. John Collins, how are you? All the way from Nashville. Delirium, I responded to your email, my friend. Send me a email tomorrow. Let's get together. I agree. I don't know if you got it, if you got my email back, but I feel a lot better. Monkey Crap, how are you? Thank you for everyone asking. I really do appreciate it. Really, really do. 175. Kenneth, how are you? Yeah, I don't expect too many people to be in here tonight because for some reason YouTube has been like not putting my videos up. Like they're just doing me dirty. Like my views, my algorithm is so down, so it's like whatever. The whole time that I was sick. So it mentally on top of being sick. Oh, thank you, Marcy. Gorilla Family. I like when I read Monkey Crap's thing, I thought of like that prison gang, the Gorilla Family. Lisa, how are you? No, I'll take a look at it though. I will tonight after the live stream. That's a little interesting to me. I haven't heard it. Of course, I really haven't been like Tyler's interview was awesome. I had so much fun doing it. Thank you, Tyler. But it was like, oh. Nanfer, I hope that you feel better. It is something fierce. It is just like a disgusting. The flu is disgusting. Like I wish it upon nobody. Gen X, how are you? I haven't seen her yet. She probably will be. She'll probably pop in late, or she might be ill. Let me check here. Jeff. Nope, she's not going to be in here tonight. Please feel better. We are all praying for your. My brain just shut off. Praying for your speedy recovery. Love you, Jane. There we. My brain just went burp. Maggie, how are you? Jay Cortez, what's up, my friend? Hollow Days, how are you? It was a wonder. Tyler was great. I had so much fun. They put me on dexamethasone, Aramic. I had 4 tablets of that throughout the 2 weeks that I was sick, or 2.5 weeks, since the 29th. And some like really funky nasal spray. But to be honest with you, all day I kind of felt like this like spike as I kept getting closer and closer to the live stream. And then 3 hours ago, I was like, let's just boost it up with some freaking testosterone. Bam. So thank you, Kathy. But I've got a lot of great encounters to share with you tonight. I've got some pretty decent Lizzo stories. I hope that you like the Lizzo stories tonight. I think we'll start out with a rather interesting one. I got some black-eyed kids. I got some Mothmen. I got some Dogmen. I got some crawlers. I've got some paranormal, some just high strangeness. I've got a kick-ass lineup for you guys tonight. So let's start with this, and we'll see where we go from here. How about that? And some aquatic cryptids. I love me a good aquatic. Tracy Thoughts, how are you? SDL, how are you? I do feel a lot better and sound a lot better, Delirium. You're absolutely right. MJ Bates, how are you? Project Coordinator Rosie, War Angel. It's been a while, you're right. Southern Charmer, how are you, dear? Cynthia, how are you? For some context, my family is very Catholic. 3 generations, grandmother, mother, myself. My grandmother was a Eucharist minister and led several prayer groups before she got sick. My mom helps with charity events in the parish, and I was born into church life and was heavily involved as well. When I was a child, about 4 years of age, I used to have this swing set in the backyard. I was the only child with a very busy single mom at the time. I closed my eyes for someone to push me high on the swing. I was taught that Jesus was the best friend you could ever ask for, so I closed my eyes and asked him to play with me and push me on my swing. Next thing I know, I'm flying and the sky looks so blue and shiny almost. Definitely knew someone was there with me, pushing me higher and higher on the swing set. I didn't feel afraid. It was a lot of fun. I didn't look back, and I don't know why. I just knew that he was there. At the time, I didn't realize what was happening was bizarre. Then found out people don't actually see Jesus like walking around or playing with them. They just thought it was cute when I said I played with Jesus. I don't think they realized what I was referring to. Sometime after that, I had a horrible nightmare. I screamed, and my mom had to pray over me to convince me that I was safe to go back to bed. I don't remember the dream. I do remember, however, telling my grandmother, which she replied with, "The devil comes in dreams to torment and scare us." I've had similar dreams as well. Don't be afraid. They're more afraid of you. My mom just wrote it off as a typical nightmare, but those words that my grandmother told me stuck with my little 5-year-old brain. Fast forward 13 years later. I'm getting ready for college, spending my last Holy Week home. I was preparing for the big move. I was nervous. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing. It was a Holy Thursday, and we were on adoration night. I was in a deep prayer, asking for guidance, lost track of time. Suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder, big, strong, warm. I thought it may be my mom or somebody else showing me their support and joining me. I'm very touchy-feely with people, so it wouldn't surprise me or bother me. When I finally opened my eyes, I looked back and no one was there, but I still felt it there. I looked to where a person should be, look up and smile. There was no fear in me. I felt total peace. At the same time, my soul felt that it could float out of my body. When I looked at my knees, they were actually a darkish blue and purple. It seemed I was kneeling for too long without noticing. It physically hurt to get up. I felt happy but tired, drained from the experience. Next day, Holy Friday, we were back in church. There's something we do called guard, in which people are assigned to stand close to the Eucharist in comparison to the rest of the people, and you rotate. It's a big deal for us Catholics, since in our minds it's literally being at the feet of Jesus. I was put on guard duty. Your focus is supposed to be solely on him. You're not supposed to look back until you're tapped on the shoulder, which indicates you have to switch. I'm doing my guard and I feel these footsteps behind me. I know it's supposed to be my substitute. I'm turning slightly around since I know they are close to reaching me. However, standing there behind me is a blonde man with a white robe of sorts, then gone. It was a split second. That shocked me. I knew it would not hurt me because actually seeing him and then disappearing, and nobody else noticed. I couldn't shake it out of my system. Half of me thinks I just imagined it, half knows that I didn't. After the shock had passed, I was euphoric. I could see angels, damn it. I was going to start healing the sick and levitating, all that cool shit. I got cocky. Thought I was spiritually super strong. Since I thought I had now this superpower, I had to use it for good. So I tried to do an exorcism. Yeah, we all make mistakes, but this one was the worst of all. There wasn't anything even paranormal in the house. Aramaic! Thank you, brother. I just wanted to say the rites out loud so I could scare them demons and make them cower in fear. Oh boy, I started saying the rite, which, by the way, it said to be used by a priest only. And the lights started to flicker, all three of them. Then, all at once, they went out. An impending sense of doom gripped me. Something was in the room with me. I don't know if I screamed or not. I was paralyzed in fear. Finally, I ran out of there. I was able to breathe again. I did not tell my mom what I did, since I was still in shock and did not want to expose her. The less she knew, the better. It would kill me, but not her. I didn't sleep that night. I just prayed. I asked God to show me what the hell attacked, and coincidentally, an article on Asmodeus popped up. Pretty convincing it was him. Next morning, I was going to use the bathroom, and I got ready for school. When I turned to go in, I see this black figure sitting. Solid, black, spiky, no eyes, mouth, featureless, big, extremely so. It looked solid, not like a shadow. I ran for my life down the stairs. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't get the noise out. I didn't eat that day. I was nauseous. The adrenaline kept pumping through me the entire day. I was in shock. I'm pretty rattled just writing this out. Then, fast forward to present day, my grandmother was attacked by a red and black being on a Saturday. She was in the guest room praying and preparing for bed, turned off the lights, and this thing showed up. All the windows and doors were closed. Our house are on cement, so we don't have much of a problem with bats in our home. And even if it was one, we don't have any that are black and red. It had wings and flew around the room attacking her, very large, although she wasn't too sure of the shape since it was so dark. My grandmother told us. My heart sank, and I've been pretty stressed and fearful since. My mom thinks that it was just a nightmare of some kind of medicine-induced hallucination. However, my grandmother told us she has been having these kinds of incidents for a long time now, and spoke to a priest about it. According to her, they told her that they target very prayerful, devout people in order to scare them. She was over it quickly and then discussed where we were going shopping. She has balls of steel, but I am so scared. I don't know if it's a thing that runs in the family, being more sensitive, but it is scary as hell. Thank you, Aramek. You are a kind friend. I appreciate you. Jimmy, how are you, buddy? Ryalex, how are you? Send me an email if you haven't. Because I don't recall getting one from you. If I would have responded, so I don't recall. Paolo, how are you? Let me know if you need my email. Tiffany Brunson, how are you? Andy Davis, you sexy motherfucker. Jimmy, how are you, my brother? That was kind of an interesting experience to start the night off with. I liked that. Sonny the Wandering Gypsy, how are you, dear? I must not have got it because I would have responded immediately. I don't know. What do you mean, Marcy? Roger Perkins, how are you? Send me another email, Rylex, if you will, tonight, like while we're on the live, so I can tell you that I got it. I didn't get it. I respond to all of them. Go to Evelyn Vates, Gavin. Evelyn Vates. You're gonna have to order a Jewel 2. Yeah, for some reason, Rylex, Google just messes with me extremely rough. They're like, no email for you. Here's an email. So, and that's why I literally try to respond. Oh, I don't know, Marcy. I don't know. They're actually like messing with my algorithm right now. I don't know. I'm accepting it. It's nothing I can't, I don't have any power over it. So, just got to accept it, right? I'm going to read into it, Tyler. I just heard about it tonight. I've not literally been online, so it's kind of fascinating to me. I'm going to check it out tonight when we get off the live. Casual fan, how are you? They do work against you. You're absolutely right. Rylex, let me know when you send it so I can check, please. Mister, how are you? Mister Poa. I honestly, I don't save my emails because of how strange Google is for me. She's sick, Rosie, so just send me one. Jeremy the chat. That's fucking great. All right, we'll do this experience and then we'll jump into a lot lizard. Tony Chappie, how are you, my friend? I saw something bizarre in the water at night. I live right on the beach in Southwest Florida, a few buildings down from a friend's house. I went to a friend's house at around 5 for dinner and left around 8:30. This happens often, and I usually walk back on the beach to my place at night. It scared the hell out of me. I was about 3/4 of the way back and almost was in front of my building when I looked out into the water. Now it's a bit past twilight, so the ocean was pretty dark and there was a few bluish pink clouds in the horizon. 20 yards out, I saw a figure in the water just standing. You could see the water breaking around it. I could only see a silhouette, but it was tall. I see dolphins all the time and manatees, etc. But this thing, it was just standing there. And it was large, a bit wider than the average human. I looked away and looked back, and it was still there. You'd barely make out because of the lighting, but it was definitely there. I looked around on the beach. There was no one in sight, no towels on the beach, no sandals, flip-flops, and I was instantly freaked out. No one goes swimming this late, especially right in front of the building. I was on the phone at the time describing what I was seeing, and I just backed up, staring at it until I got to my building. After I got inside, I went up to the fifth floor where I live and stared out at the ocean where I saw it first, but couldn't see a thing. At this point, it was really dark. I don't know what this thing was, but it definitely was not a person, and it scared the shit out of me. Mind you, I swim in the ocean every day, and up until this point, I have had no fear of the ocean. I was not intoxicated. Anyway, weird phenomena. Thank you for allowing me to share. Definitely weird. Johnny Sumner, how are you? Smitty, how are you? I'm going to check real quick and see if you sent me it, Alex, because I was. I got Delirium's email, but not Rylex's. I got your email response, Delirium, my friend. Jimmy. All right. I guess it's time for a lot lizard story. I'm going to read the lot lizard story and then I'll check. I got it, Rye. We're good. All right. Lot lizard time, my friends. Lot lizard time. All right. Mind you, I've been sick as a dog when I wrote these, so I apologize if they were shitty. Nestled in the crook of West Virginia's hunched back, there where the fog clung to the mountains like a jealous lover and the road unspooled into nothingness, sat the last gear diner and truck stop. It wasn't much to look at, flickering neon, a rusted fuel pump that only worked if you prayed to the god of O-rings, and a sign that read diner, in letters so crooked they looked like they'd had one too many. But inside was the kingdom, run by the one and only Lizzo, 6 foot tall, 350-pound, pure force of nature with a voice like a foghorn and biceps like tree trunks. The last gear wasn't just a stop, it was a sanctuary for truckers, misfits, and the nocturnal creatures of the night. It was the last bastion of warm coffee, questionable Wi-Fi, and enthusiastic hospitality. Lizzo wasn't just the owner. No, she was the queen, the undisputed lot lizard queen, presiding over a ragtag army of diesel jockeys, fry cooks named Big Hank, who once wrestled a boar for a bet, and a rotating crew of independent couriers who worked the gravel like a thigh-high who worked the gravel in thigh-high boots and glittery windbreakers. They called themselves the Lot Lizards. But Lizzo, to her, they were family. And then there was Earl. Earl wasn't just a trucker. He drove a sky blue Peterbilt with flame decals that hadn't seen fire in 10 years. And he had hair like a bottle brush and a laugh that could rattle a coffee mug. More importantly, that was Lizzo's boy toy. Their relationship complicated. He had commitment issues. She had a belt sander and was not afraid to use it as a persuasive tool. It was on the night, thick with drizzle and diesel fumes, that the world tilted sideways. The diner was half full. 3 truckers playing dominoes in the corner, 2 lots in the corner, Benny the fry cook flipping hash browns, and a furry of a man who had just discovered ketchup was out of stock. Then, pop, a shimmer in the air by the soda machine, a puff of green smoke that smelled suspiciously of sour milk and bad decisions. And out stepped, a man, a person, about 2 feet 7 inches tall, dressed in a green suit that looked like it had been stolen from a child's Halloween costume, pointed shoes, a crooked hat, eyes bloodshot with rage and cheap whiskey. "Where's me gold, Yankee scum?" he roared, wobbling forward on unsteady feet. He reeked of peat moss and regret. Earl, mid-bite into a bacon double stack, lowered his fork. "What the hell?" Tiny man stopped up, jabbing his finger into Earl's belly. "Your kind stole me luck. I'm Ronald, the unluckiest leprechaun in all of Ireland's shadow realm, and I will smite thee. Earl snorted. Lady, he said, turning to Lizzo behind the counter. We got a drunk munchkin with a complex. Ronald snarled. I'll show you a complex, ye overgrown gas-guzzling buffoon. And with a drunken lunge, he headbutted Earl square in the shin. Earl yelped, stood up, and then kicked him, gently, like you would do with shooing a raccoon. Ronald flew backward, hitting the jukebox, and let out a high-pitched yeek. The entire diner froze. Then the world warped. Green lightning crackled from Ronald's tiny little palms, his arms raised, screaming a curse in Gaelic that sounded like a goat choking on a kazoo, and poof, shit. Where Earl once stood was now a slug. But not just any slug. This was a gigantic, rubbery, purple slug, shiny, undilating, about the size of a fire extinguisher, and there was no polite way to say it. It looked exactly like a life-sized, anatomically questionable donkey wiener. Silence. Then Lizzo slammed her hands on the counter. What in sweet dick-slapping name of Satan is that? The purple donkey wiener, Earl, wiggled slowly toward her, emitting a soft squelch with each movement. Ronald straightened his hat, hiccuped. Served him right. No respect for the Irish magic. Lizzo's eyes narrowed. Then she kept under the counter, painted pink, studded with rhinestones, named Betty. Listen here, you gremlin-faced little bastard, she said, voice low and dangerous. That there's my man. And while I have threatened to turn him into a slimy invertebrate on approximately 17 occasions, that privilege is mine. She hefted Betty. I declare war, she announced. On ye and your tiny little green kid, Ronald gasped. You're on, you big-boned harlot. With a theatrical flourish, he pulled a tiny little golden harmonica from his coat and blew a single sour note. Poof, poof, poof. Around the diner, more green smoke erupted. From the restroom, a trash can, the ice machine, even one popped out of Big Hank's overalls. He screamed like a banshee and dropped a pot of chili. Dozens of leprechauns, all angry, all drunk, all armed with shillelagh, butter knives, and one guy had a flaming spork. Oh, hell no, Darla, one of the lot lizards grabbing a frying pan. Time to earn your tips, Lizzo growled. The battle of the last gear began. Big Hank charged with a mop like a broadsword, taking out 3 leprechauns with a single swing. One lot lizard, Tina, the martial art enthusiast, went full kung fu on a group trying to summon a demon from the microwave, disarming them with a kick that sent one of them flying into a rack of napkins. Benny the fry cook wielded tongs like nunchucks and deep-fried a leprechaun who got too close to the fryer. Extra crispy, he muttered, dropping him into a styrofoam box. Ronald, cackling, zapped another trucker, turning him into a sentient muffin. But Lizzo intercepted with a well-aimed throw of Betty. Crack! Right in the noggin. The leprechaun king tumbled, but Lizzo did not stop. She marched towards the purple donkey wiener, her beloved Earl, and with a look of grim determination, picked it up. It squealed softly. Sorry, Sug, she muttered. This is going to sting. She strolled over to an unconscious Ronald, raising the slug high and shoved the entire wriggling rubber mass right up Ronald's tiny little clothed booter hole. There was a sound like a wet plunger meeting destiny. Then pop, the slug vanished. Green light exploded upward. Ronald's eyes flew open. No, not the... But it was too late. With a final high-pitched squee, Ronald dissolved into a green mist, sucked back into the soda machine, which burped once it fizzed out. And then, from the same spot, pop, Earl reappeared naked, covered in something slimy and vaguely green, with a confused look on his face. Did I black out again? Lizzo dropped Betty, rushing over to him, wrapping him in a tablecloth. You're back, she said, voice thick. And you smell like luck and shame. Earl blinked. Why does my butt hurt? No one answered. The diner was a mess. Tables overturned, the leprechaun still smoldering on the counter, the jukebox playing Sweet Home Alabama on loop off key. But they had won. Lizzo stood on the counter surveying her battered but unbroken kingdom. We, she announced, are reopened in 10 minutes. Drinks are on the house for anyone who fought the little green bastards. There was a cheer as the truckers helped clean up and the lot lizards started filing their nails again. Earl sat at the counter, wrapped in a blanket, sipping coffee. Lizzo leaned down, kissed his forehead. Just so we're clear, she said, if you ever get turned into a purple donkey wiener again, I'm not saving you. Earl grinned. Wouldn't dream of it, sugar. But that night, as the neon buzzed and the mountains loomed, a single green flicker sparked behind the ice machine. And from the depths of the fryer, a tiny harmonica played a single sour note. Somewhere, Ronald was plotting. But in the last gear, they weren't worried. After all, they had Lizzo, and Lizzo had Betty. And there you go. D.L. Hemingway, how are you, my friend? Good seeing you. Literally, Jager, I just sit and I just think of these things. I'm like, all right, what would sound good? What would be good? Savage Lunatic, how are you, my friend? All right. How about a black-eyed kid story? Guys up for a black-eyed kid story? It was kind of a fever dream. It was a fever dream. I have no way of knowing if this was a prank by some punk with colored contacts or if I truly encountered a black-eyed child, but this truly happened. The town I went to high school in is large suburban area located only an hour's drive down the freeway from a large California cities like San Diego and LA. Not a small town, but also not a metropolitan city, just a lot of neighborhoods and shopping centers. I'd been driving for a year or two. I may have been a senior at the time. On my way home one day, I stopped at CVS. It was just after school, so it was still sunny. In fact, it was so sunny out that I raised my hand to shield my eyes as I walked out of my car. There were spaces directly in front of the store, and I took one of them. Now, remember, I'm a small female, grew up weary of being kidnapped. So when I was approached in the parking lot by a young man on a skateboard, I was suspicious. I was a nerdy punk and did not know anyone who skated and didn't know this guy from school or anything. So I thought it was weird that he'd even be talking to me, especially at CVS parking lot. So I come out and the skateboard kid is just standing by the hood of my car. I drove a beat-up Honda Accord with my first car driving dents and all, so it was super weird when this kid complimented my car. I'll never forget what he said. Nice car, like he meant it. So, a little flattered, I looked up and into his face to thank him. I will never know if it was just a sunny shadow or if he was a demon, but his eyes, his sockets, the whites of his eyes, it was all indescribably black, shadowed, just black pupils, blacker whites, black sockets. It freaked me out looking into those eyes, and I could not look away. I could see all of him, but all I could look at was those black eyes. I managed a thank you, open my door, but he stayed at the hood and offered to wash it for me. He literally said I could wash it for you. Like, what? Why? No, I don't think so. I got in the car anyway, rejecting his offer to wash my car. He was starting to creep me out, and he stayed near my hood of my car until I backed out of the space and left the lot. His creepy eyes, his creepy offer. I will just never forget it. I maybe hope that he was dressed, his eyes in eyeliner and black contacts, but I will never know. I only know what I saw, and I saw a kid with black eyes. Amber Lee, how are you? My grandmother encountered 3 black-eyed kids. They asked her if they could come in. We have a garden with a balcony door that leads into the living room. They didn't look directly at her. They stared at the floor. One of them asked her if they could use the phone to call their parents, and my grandmother told me she had never felt such dread but thought nothing of it because they were kids. She said, just let him in. She told me that they she told me that then they finally looked at her with the eyes and they were black. She never saw something like this in her life. She froze and just watched them walk into our hallway out of sight. Then my grandmother followed after a second or two. They were gone. They simply vanished into thin air. She was genuinely scared, confused when she told me this. My grandmother would never make up such things or even talk about something paranormal in general, let alone having access to the internet, because she simply doesn't understand how it works. Never used a computer in her life. She's a Turkish grandmother from an old generation. I Googled and froze after reading about this phenomena. This happened about 8 years ago. The experience is startling to me every time I think about it. My poor grandmother. I bet you they're still in the house. I bet you they're like right there, fucking lurking around. Hanging out, watching her fucking poop. Little dirty bastards. That's right, Sean. How are you, buddy? Tiffany Cooper, how are you? OG Hash, how are you? Patrice, how are you? Grandma's getting all frisky with her Turkish little rubber donkey wiener. Fucking little black-eyed kids like, there's Pops. How are you, dear? They need a hobby. They need something to do, right? There's Amanda. How are you, dear? I'll give you a text this week. I'm feeling better now. Thank you. This was the worst flu I've ever had in my life. Like, I'm just so glad that it's almost gone. I'm just a Fig Newton in your imagination. What's up, Bretta? Revisioner. How are you? I don't know, D. I feel a lot better. I feel a lot better. I like strawberry Newtons myself, Beretta. My wife has the flu. So, oh man, delirium. I hope that she feels better. This was literally the worst thing I've ever had. Not the worst, but like it's up there. No, I don't know who that is. Tigger's doing great. Tigger's, I don't know. Yes, Belle is still sick. Belle is like, she's like I am right now, but she'll get sick. She's sick in the morning. It's weird. Rodriguez, how are you? No, I don't do call-ins, not yet. I don't. It's just it'd be too much to do. What's up, Eli? How are you, buddy? Tig is. I don't know. He's his like his. I think he's still got something wrong with his bladder. Um, it seems like he's losing weight, but I don't know. I'm babying the little bastard. I'm babying him. All right, we'll do this, and then we'll do something extra special. We'll play Name That Tune. How about that? Is DB Mac in here? What's up? Shut up your face. Send me an email, Kitten Chops. We'll get you on for an interview. I hallucinations, vintage, goofy, and pick those ones. That's weird, Patrice. I definitely not want to be hallucinating Goofy. Oh my God, Tigger's so baby, Tiffany. You have no idea. John Sumner, we definitely know that. We've known that for years now. Amanda, did you hear Tyler's interview? I know you did. Actually, I know you did. In the summer of 2019, I was approximately 12 years old. I was camping with my family at what I believe was Jackson Lake State Park in Colorado. One evening, my cousin and I decided to stay awake later than the rest of the family to see if we could spot any wildlife moving around the campground. We had brought a very powerful handheld flashlight to scan the area behind our campsite. Our campsite was set back from the road. Across the road was a tall fence, and beyond that stretched open hills or undeveloped land. While sweeping the flashlight beam across the fence line, we suddenly caught two glowing eyes on the far side of the fence. At first, I assumed it was something common, such as a raccoon, dog, or cat. However, the eyes were positioned much higher than those of those animals, indicating something much larger. I asked my cousin if he could see it as well. He confirmed that he did. He is not someone who jokes about things like this, so I immediately knew we were both witnessing something. Moments later, the eyes rose rapidly. The movement was smooth and confident, as if the animal was climbing the fence with ease. I did not hesitate or struggle. As we watched this animal reach the top of the fence and then jump down on our side, for a brief moment, we both feared it may charge toward our campsite, our hearts racing. At that exact moment, a car drove along the road between us and that fence. The headlights illuminated the creature for a second, and the driver honked its horn, apparently startling it. In those few seconds of light, I could see that this creature was large, bulky, with brown or cinnamon-colored coat. Its size and mass reminded me of a bear, but the head did not match a bear's profile, more canine, similar to a wolf or German shepherd. Ears appeared to be pointed rather than rounded. I also noticed movement behind it that looked like a brushy tail, though this detail is fleeting. As soon as that car passed, the animal quickly retreated into the hills beyond the fence. Its glowing eyes vanished, and we did not see or hear it again. The entire experience lasted only a few seconds, but the intensity of that moment left a lasting impression. Looking back, I recognize that it may have been a black bear, possibly a cinnamon-colored individual, seen under poor lighting and during rapid movement. However, the combination of the canine head, pointed ears, apparent tail movement, and its ease of climbing that fence made the encounter feel highly unusual for standard campsite wildlife sighting. Anyway, I'm sharing my experience. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Wesley, I hope you feel better, buddy. I hope you feel better. Mr. Shackleneck, there you are, you big sexy mother effer. Kay, how are you? Kay Slay. All right. I think it's Name That Tune. Is it Name That Tune? Because 20 bucks is 20 bucks. to name the tune. You got 10 seconds. Whoever names the tune gets nothing. Definitely not Yoko Ono, though, Aramik. Very good guess. A band, I'll give you an idea. A band that in the late 90s, early 2000s that still plays, still puts out records. The lead singer / guitarist owns a wrestling organization, and that's it. That's all you get. Pukwudgie, they're like 3 feet tall tops. It's good seeing you, Shackleneck. Not Chris Jericho's band. Not Blind Melon, but within that time period. I'll give you another hint. I'll give you another one. I'll give you another hint. He's balding. Or he is bald. He's bald. Female bass player. Yep. Shut up your face, and Marcy got it. Ooh, the Bangles. Ooh, that'd be a good song. They've already got it, Jimmy. Balding, wrestling, owns a wrestling thing, female bassist, 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. Shackleneck, thank you so much, my brother. God bless you. You are too kind. Brian Mons is beating his Pukwudgie in the background. Thank you, Samara Osborne. How are you, dear? Oh. There we go. No, hang on. Oh. There we go. That's better. I did Spoon Man one time. Had to do the upstate shake. You're right. He did see a shapeshifter, but he will not say who. You're absolutely right. Shut up your face. A rare little thing. I have loved the Smashing Pumpkins since I was in high school. All right. How about a crawler experience for you guys? See, I feel so much better than last week and the freaking New Year's special. Thank you, guys. Like, this just makes it worth it. Kicking ass tonight, guys. Kicking ass for you. Taking names, Andy Davis. Bob Weir passed today? Holy shit. Bobby Weir, Grateful Dead and Rat Dog. No shit. Wow. You did get a membership. A train vanish? Wow, that's crazy. Send me an email on that, will you? I'd like to hear that. That's fucking crazy. Wow, I can't believe freaking Bobby Weir died. I remember, like, Aramik! Thank you, brother. Kimberly, how are you? I remember that was my first Dead show was with my mom and dad. I was on their shoulders. People have heard this probably before, but I remember being on my dad's shoulders. We were in Saratoga, SPAC, and the whole park. All I remember is like a bunch of hippies. This was like 79, maybe. I still remember bits and pieces of it. I just remember boobs. I remember lots of boobs everywhere. Mikey Turner, what's up, brother? How are you? I'm doing well, thank you. Cameron, how are you? Really wonder if the rake is demonic. The rake is a creepypasta. The crawler is what it is. Um, and I truly believe they are created by like genetic splicing and stuff by alien genome gentech and stuff like that. But here we go. Oh, that's a good idea, Tyler. That's a good idea. You just watched the Chud? Wait, I watched Chud when it. Oh my God, really? Dude, that's great. In the movie theaters? Damn. Damn. I remember seeing it when I was a kid at like in my freaking living room. It scared the shit out of me. All right, crawler experience. January 5th, 2026, 1:20 a.m. This was close to an hour ago. I took Skippy out for his walk, and while he was sniffing, I was looking at how bright the moon was, making everything because we have a thin overlay of clouds that scatters the light. However, they don't come out when the moon is up. But I suddenly started thinking about during previous encounter, the cult. I'm not reading that. That's fucking ridiculous. I can't stand when people don't write good. I got a better one for you. I don't have any patience tonight for that. All right, here we go. Fucking good one right here. So this starts off with my younger sister's part of the experience. She was 12 or 13 at the time and very into cryptid stories and stuff like that. We have a tree with a tire swing in our backyard that she was on, and her friends were standing around late at night. She says that her friends out of nowhere start telling her they need to go inside, seemed panicked and looking off to her side until they eventually, after a minute or so, left and went back into my house. And we're in the doorway still trying to get my sister to come into the house. She says that she was zoned out, and when she came back to, she could feel that there was a presence next to her, like something that's there but shouldn't be. When she looked over, she saw hooves or possibly feet, bony, long, wrong-looking legs, a dirty, faded white type of skin. She immediately got off the swing and started slowly walking back up to the house because she had read somewhere that if you are encountered something predatory, don't act like you notice it and do not run. When she did this, she could hear it deeply groan and a bone cracking type of noise. Then, as she's walking towards the house, it went quiet. Then she heard it groan again a couple feet behind her, which made her run as fast as she could. She also says that during this time she felt scared to the point where she was about to start crying. Her and her friends talk about it for a while and eventually fell asleep at around 5 a.m. in my room because I had curtains and she didn't. And I was at my grandmother's house at the time, but her friends said that she woke up at around noon. She saw me walk into the bathroom wearing what I had been wearing when I left the day before, which sounds normal but when my sister woke up and realized that I wasn't home, she called me, which I told her I had stayed the night at grandma's and had not been home yet. The reason that I believe this experience outside for a fact that I know my sister wouldn't make something up like this and stick to it for years now, because I seen something similar in the woods behind our house one day. Well, not in the instant of the situation as her, I still seen the upper half of what she had described, and it was around the same time, a little after her situation. My neighbors are all family with all of their houses built on the same patch of land, and our house was the parents' house before they passed, and there was a brother and his wife and sister and her son in different 4 houses, total on a piece of land bordered by road on all sides, which our house is in the middle. They have a trail system that goes through the woods and field that connects all the houses together, which I was walking on through the woods and had come across 3 skinny, maybe 20-foot tall trees bent over, making an arch like a tunnel. As I am looking at these trees, wondering how they got like this, I look over to my left across a wet, marshy type of area to the other side of it, and I see the upper half of a pale, faded, white, bony figure with no visible facial features walk out of the thick brush area into 10-foot stretch where the weeds were grown up to around where its belly would have been, and walk back behind another heavily wooded area. I did not stick around to investigate. I immediately turned around and went back to the house. But at that same time, I don't think it seemed to notice me, because I just seen it from the side walking quickly but weirdly stiff, like its shoulders weren't moving a whole lot. After her first experience, there was another situation where my sister and her friend and our dog were in the middle of our dad's old truck sitting out back near the tire swing hanging out. She said that she looked over, she saw this white figure watching them from the woods, and my dog saw it and started whining and shaking, and a couple of minutes later there was tapping on the window, which they were too scared to acknowledge. But she says the dog started trembling and whining worse. They ended up staying in the truck with the doors locked until the sun came up. Those are the only times anyone has seen it, but there is occasional window tapping, and a few months ago I fell asleep with my window open and woke up with a super strong feeling something or someone was watching me, and just laid still. When I moved to close the window and close the curtains, I heard something moving away from the window, which, me being a confrontational person, got up, put my pants on, grabbed a flashlight, ran outside looking for whoever or whatever it was, but never found a thing. Also, a time where there was a cow sounding moaning coming from the woods behind my house at night, which we don't really think a whole lot of or feel like it's worth mentioning. The reason this is even brought up and talked about was because my sister told me a few nights ago she had our cat, that's an indoor-outdoor type of cat, on her stomach in her room petting her. She was purring. Then a couple minutes later, after the cat stopped purring, she heard the exact same sound, and the cat was making as if someone recorded it, playing it back, coming from the window. The exact same sound the cat was making as if someone recorded it and playing it back like it was coming from the window open behind her bed. Okay, so it was playing the cat's purring. Stop, reach up behind and close the window. Sorry if I went into excessive detail on this thing. Doesn't matter. I'm definitely not a writer, just trying to get some insight. Thank you. Crawler. Nikita, how are you? These are all band names that the late comedian Gallagher would have endorsed. Ethan Davis, what's up, my friend? How are you? I hope you're being good for your dad. Key West, how are you? I'm doing well. I'm doing well now that my flu is done. Truth Quest, how are you? Key West Cat Lady, Nikola Tesla. It was October 15th or October 2015, sometime in the middle of the afternoon. I was in an empty blah, blah, blah. I'm going to start all over. It was October 2015, sometime in the middle of the afternoon. I was in an empty field getting some painting done when I suddenly heard what I can only describe as a sonic boom. I saw an aircraft overhead. It did not make sense. This is not a normal flight path, and something about it felt wrong. The sonic boom repeated several times, estimated at 3 to 4 occurrences before the object abruptly vanished. After the last boom, it was gone. No fading out, no distance. It was there, and then it was not. Driven by curiosity, I decided to move toward the area beneath where the craft had been last seen. It was then that the experience took place. I heard something rustling in the brush nearby. I froze. I had my camera ready, waiting for whatever or whoever to come out. What emerged was not an animal that I could identify. It jumped out of the brush, snarling and sniffing the air. I tried to snap a photo, but I forgot the camera was not on. The noise immediately drew the creature closer. I estimate it approached within about 30 feet, though it did not appear to notice me directly, just the noise. I was terrified and ready to leave, but curiosity got the better of me. I believe the entity may have sought shelter underground. I recall a nearby sewer access point. I grabbed a flashlight and a second camera before entering the tunnel. I walked about 200 yards in, and I heard footsteps that were not mine. In a panic, I shut off the flashlight and shouted into the darkness. I yelled that I had a knife and I was not afraid to use it. Yep, you're a Karen. The response was immediate and chilling. I heard a roar and a growl from the end of the tunnel. I dropped the flashlight and rolled back and forth, flickering. When the light finally settled, I saw what I can only describe as a humanoid, reptilian-like creature standing directly in front of me. It was a human reptile creature. The eyes reflected the light back at me. I did not stop running until I was nearly a mile away from that area, and I never went back. For all I know, that thing could still be down there. Doubt it. Welcome back, Aramik. Welcome back, Aramik. Ooh, I like mashed potatoes. I don't know. I want to know too, Aramik. Not. Oh shit. Shut up your face. That's fucking good. Sonia, how are you, dear? I think Pups, was it the day after Christmas that you sent me that photo of the blue kind of smoke over Utah or whatever, Arizona? There was some kind of weird like thing. Yeah, I heard that. I saw it in a picture. What book, Amber? Not you. Who was it that sent me that? This Stephanie, how are you? Wiley, how are you, buddy? I don't know what book you're talking about, Amberly. There's Sully. What's up, buddy? How are you? Thank you for last week. I appreciate that. Victor's book never came out. It's not even, I don't know how I'm ever going to get it out. I'm probably going to just put it out under a fictional title and sneak it out. But Jimmy and I's book will be out in like a month. I told you it was you, Pups, messing with my head like that. 2 guys broke into a pharmacy and stole all the Viagra. Police put out a bolo. 2 hard. Ha ha, buddy. Oh, shit. Hang on, I got to do the upstate shake. Yeah, in about a month or a month and a half, somewhere around there. Victor's book never came out. He couldn't do it. I tried to do it, and I've got it done. It's just done. My good friend Mr. Haunted is writing it for me because he's such a lovely person. I wish, Aramic. It's been 9 years since I've been on a date. 9 years. I've got no game, Aramic. That's why I love him. That's why I love Jimmy. No, I didn't. I'll look it up though, Truth Quest. Now you got me interested. Thank you, Kay. I wish, Andy. I really do. What's up, RM? No, he's not ghostwriting. Oh, I get it. Shut up your face. No pun intended. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Maggie. I wouldn't even know what to do on a date. I'd be like, what do you want to talk about? Be like, you seen this book? I'll be bringing the girl downstairs. I'll be like, check out this book. Look at this book. This book definitely tells you how there is a tie-in to cryptid and paranormal. She'd be like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I only write Lizzo stories. The stories that Jimmy's writing is all stories from my channel that subscribers had sent me. I might get a date with the Lizzo stories. We're probably going to do a meet and greet. We really don't know yet, Amberly. What time is it? We'll do a couple other stories and then a Lizzo story. All right, this one's weird. This one's really weird. An experience from Austro-Hungarian soldier who witnessed dread in Serbia. This is not your normal paranormal experience. It connects a creepy experience in dreads of war from my country in Western Balkans. I heard it from an old relative whose cousin was one of the soldiers who encountered this Austro-Hungarian soldier. The story dates from World War I and can also be found in a journal of a Serbian officer who was part of the group. The journal is preserved somewhere in a museum in Western Serbia. Note, the experience happened during the Battle of Mount Kar. Joanna's story as follows. We were advancing from Durin, hauling our howitzer up a hill you Serbs call the Eagle's Nest. Once we reached the summit, we could clearly see an open meadow below, a sure sign that the villages were nearby. Larry Lindman, thank you so much. Sure sign that the villages were nearby. Our command post was set up along the edge of one such clearing where tall turkey oaks cast shade on the August sun. I was looking for my comrade Franz, who was carrying a sack of potatoes to the field kitchen when I heard a faint whoomp in the distance. At that moment, the first shell landed among our position, right beside where the horses and draft ox were tethered. Serbian scouts and artillery had found us. The next whoop struck the command tent. The third, I don't remember. I believe it landed close to me, and I was thrown into a nearby creek. When I came to, it was already dark. I was badly concussed. I had no sense of direction, no way to find my unit. All I could hear was the call of a night owl and the breeze moving through the tree tops. I do not know how long I wandered along that creek downstream when I saw the dark outline of a watermill besides a large pale stone. It was one of your Serbian watermills with moss-covered hipped roof. I didn't hear the millstone turning. It looked abandoned since Ottoman times. Inside, there was a stone sleeping platform positioned directly opposite the entrance, with the millstone resting beside it. Nearby stood a small wooden three-legged stool next to what must have once been a campsite. The wooden ceiling is low. I cursed myself for not climbing up into it to sleep. Instead, I lit a fire onto the floor that evening. I must have fallen asleep partly from pain, partly from listening to the fire crackle. It was past midnight when I awoke and opened my right eye. I thought I saw something dark poking at the flames. I assumed it was from the shelling. Then I opened both my eyes and I saw a face of a young woman with black hair wearing a black military coat I had never seen before stirring the fire. I could not see her legs because she was crouched low, or maybe they weren't there. I sat up and she paid me no attention, only staring into the flames. My gut told me something was wrong. I took one of the broken chair legs and pretended to tend the fire, waiting until the wood glowed red. Then, without warning, I thrust it beneath her coat. She leapt back, revealing goat legs with black hooves. She let out a sound somewhere between a baby's cry and laughter and ran out of the mill, cursing me in some language. When I finally came to my senses, I ran outside as well, scrambling up the hill away from the mill and stream. I don't know how long I ran, but I stumbled straight into your ambush. After that, I remember nothing. Johan was shot in the belly and collapsed. Later, he was transported to a field hospital of the Serbian army, where he recovered and was exchanged as a prisoner. And then he shared his experience. Larry Lindman, thank you so much, my friend. I truly appreciate that. I didn't want to stop in the middle of the reading. Dude, so good. Thank you. I appreciate you. You are too kind. I like that story. I thought that was cool. And it's what's cool about it is it's historical. You know what I mean? Like from World War One, suburban or Serbian army. Like it's fucking awesome. My channel, Lindsay, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you so much. Ultraman or Godzilla? Godzilla, of course. Oh yeah, Tyler. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Oh, thank you, Lindsay. That's really sweet. Thank you. No, World War One, Aramik. World War One. Amberly, why don't you just send me an email and come on and share your experience in a live stream or in a interview? It's hang on one detail, Aramik. Look up Austro-Hungarian soldat. 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 Send me an email, Lindsay. Let's share it. Whose birthday is it? Whose birthday? My son moved in with me last week. Both of her birthdays are Wednesday. Sonia, happy birthday on Wednesday. Happy birthday to you and your son. I love Messina. Messina's great. Oh, that's awesome. That must be like that's like pure like mother son bonding right there. Like to give birth to your son on your birthday. That's, pardon the French, but fucking amazing, you know? Good for you. I always tell Isabel that she came out of me first. So I think maybe she was conceived on my birthday. What do you think? October, November, December. Dude, when me and my ex-wife used to fight, she'd be like, and I'm going to get the kids. And I'd be like, yeah, okay. I'd be like, they came out of me first. They came out of me first. They're mine. And look who got them. This guy. Just kidding. Well, I did, but. All right. Little about me. I grew up in the woods, camping, fishing, hunting. I'm used to everything, and I've saw most things there is to see. Well, aren't you just a strapping young lad? I also watch horror movies since I was 10. Nothing bothers me anymore. Dude, this guy is a neckbeard and lives in his fucking mom's basement. Just listen to this. A little about me. Camping, fishing, and hunting. I'm used to everything. I've seen most things there is to see. I also watch horror movies since I was 10. Nothing bothers me anymore. About 10 years ago, my wife and I got a cabin in the campground to check out. It was the last cabin in the group of 3 at the forest's edge, the very back corner of the campground. This place was not even the backwoods. We had a phone service. It was in Bedford, PA. The campground was not busy at all. We did our usual campfire that evening. No issues, nothing strange. I remember seeing a flying squirrel whiz past, which is pretty uncommon, but cool thing to see. Anyway, we put out the fire. Wifey went into the cabin to get ready for some bed. The cabin had a small open porch with a porch light. I went inside, But my cousin called, so I stepped out onto the porch to talk. All I remember is walking around the porch talking, and when I went to the far side facing the forest edge, I froze. My entire body covered in goosebumps. Now, as I type this, it still is. It was a small, bipedal, gray-colored creature. It was just staring at me. It never moved. It was no more than 2 feet tall. The color was really caught my eye. Nothing like it I'd ever seen before, and the way it stood in the darkness. I couldn't make out its features, but I slowly backed away into the doorway, never taking my eyes off it. It was right off the porch, just out of the light, maybe 5 feet away, just at the edge of the woods. My wife said she never saw me look so terrified in all the years we've been together. She knew something was wrong. My cousin said I just went silent and then hung the phone up. I went back out 30 minutes later and it was gone. The next morning, everything was fine. We took a hike, came back, had lunch. After lunch, we went inside again and everything in the cabin started to shake. One of the loudest sounds I'd ever heard flew over us. It only lasted a few seconds. Went outside, saw a few people outside looking around. Then it happened again. Fighter jets flew so low over the top of the area. No idea what they were looking for, or just standard military training. But it was freaky. We left right after they flew over a few times. We've been back to the campground since. Nothing strange has ever happened. I do not stay in that cabin again, though. I was talking to a good friend a year ago who's very into the supernatural, and he mentioned the Pukwudgie. Yes, the Pukwudgie, Brian Mons. It escaped from your closet after I told him the story. Well, very well could have been. A part of me always thought it was the fighter jets. Anyway, hope you enjoyed my experience. It was a Pukwudgie. Did it die? Why would he think it was a fucking alien? Because fighter jets are flying over in the daytime. I might think that it was an alien if they flew over at the same time as seeing it. You know what I mean? But like a whole 12 hours later, no, it was definitely a Pukwudgie looking for Earl's booter hole. Speaking of Earl's booter hole, it is time for a Lizzo story. Smitty, thank you so much. Fucking neckbeards. Gotta love the neckbeard. All right, let's see which one we're going to do. Here we go. Yep, we'll do this one. All right. Hang on. I got to do a little manual adjusting. There we go. That is so much better. Outside in, how are you? It was a kind of night where even the streetlights seemed nervous. Somewhere between nowhere and Hell's Half Acre, along a stretch of a 2-lane blacktop that had been forgotten by both GPS and God, sat a iron-wheeled truck stop. A greasy beacon in the dark, it hummed with neon diesel fumes and a low rhythmic moan of the jukebox playing Conway Twitty on repeat. And reigning over this kingdom of truckers, fryer grease, and illicit commerce was Lizzo. Not the singer, but a 6-foot-tall, 280-pound force of nature. Jigger, thank you. With a beehive the size of a cinder block and hips that could knock a man out with a side eye. She wasn't just the owner of this diner. No, she was the undisputed lot lizard queen. A woman who ran her fleet of independent contractors with military precision and maternal care. They called her Mama Lizzo. You don't mess with her. You don't even think about messing with her unless you wanted to break your line snipped, or you wanted your brake line snipped, or worse, a foot long dipped in jalapeno sauce. Inside, the usual late night crew huddled by the cracked vinyl booths. Earl, a grizzled long hauler with a permanent nicotine stain on his left index finger, sipped black coffee and watched the storm roll in. Lightning flickered like God's strobe light. Then something else moved. A dark shape, wide winged and silent, cut across the moon. Lizzo, Earl said, squinting through the diner window. You see that? Lizzo leaned over, wiped the grease off the glass with her apron, and peered out. Perched on the roof of the truck stop, wings folded like a bat in a bad suit, was a creature. It stood 7 feet tall with glowing yellow eyes, leathery skin, and a face that screamed, I crawled out of your worst nightmare after reading Nietzsche. Earl whispered, That's the Mothman, the cryptid from Point Pleasant. That thing brings doom. Lizzo snorted. Oh, please, Earl. That ain't no Mothman. Mothmen got antennae, and they wear little moth hats. That's a reptilian, probably escaped from some underground bunker near Nevada. Probably just here for all you can eat shrimp. I don't know we had all you could eat shrimp, Earl said. We don't. That's why he looks disappointed. Before Earl could respond, a beat-up white van screeched into the lot. Tires screamed like a banshee getting waxed. On top sat a grotesque 3-foot-tall foam moth, fuzzy, with googly eyes and wings spread in eternal agony. The side of the van read, Bugs Drag Ass Demon Extermination since 2017. And what you can't Google. The driver stepped out, a wiry man with wire-rimmed glasses, a pocket protector full of mechanical pencils, and a navy t-shirt that read, I love geometry. His name tag said Dr. Cypress, paranormal specialist. Ah, at last, he announced, squinting up at the roof beast. A Specialus nocturnus cicadus. I've tracked this specimen from the salt flats. Observe the wing stealth in the vestigial third eye. Textbook. Lizzo leaned on the counter, unimpressed. You look like you should be grading SATs, not fighting monsters. I do grade SATs, Dr. Cypress admitted. Part-time. But I have a doctorate in mothology. That's not a real degree, but it should be. Suddenly, the creature on the roof spread its leathery wings with a sound like Velcro, earthquake, and launched. It swooped down, snatching Dr. Cypress by the collar of his sweater vest, and shot into the sky like a greasy bat on a mission. The van exploded as the creature's talons accidentally hit the spare can of industrial-grade bug killer on the back. Fire bloomed across the asphalt. Truckers ducked. Lizzo did not flinch. Then she moved. Out the door she stormed, not in fear, but in fury, a hurricane in heels. You touch my bug killer, you die, she growled, marching toward the spot where the creature had stood. Just as she reached the scorched mark, the beast returned, diving like a pterodactyl with tenor. It slammed into Lizzo's full force, sending her flying through the air like a sack of angry flour. She crashed into a stack of used tires and groaned. Liz! Earl bellowed. He didn't think, he acted, grabbing the nearest thing, a pressurized canister of triple threat industrial insect annihilator. Kills, eats, and judges your life's choices. Earl sprinted out, spraying like a mad gardener possessed. The creature roared, recoiling as the chemical mist hit its face. Its wings sputtered, it hissed, a sound like 1,000 angry arguing over rent. Earl did not stop. He charged, the canister raised like a holy relic. The creature landed, staggered, and turned its glowing eyes on him. And then they traded blows, punch for punch, hiss for grunt, elbow to jaw. The creature swung its claws like switchblades. Earl ducked, jabbed with the canister, and cracked it across the monster's temple. The beast staggered, confused, clearly not expecting a 52-year-old trucker with a bad knee and a love for meatloaf to be that scrappy. Round two! Lizzo, now back to her feet, barked from the sidelines. Left hook, Earl! Make Mama proud! Earl punched, then delivered a perfectly stone-cold stunner. Right palm on the creature's snout, followed by a spray of bug killer directly into the third eye, which, yes, was very real, very gross. The creature shrieked, a sound like a fax machine being exercised, then collapsed. Silence, then a loud poof, like a whoopee cushion at a funeral. And just like that, the creature vanished. No body, no blood, just a faint sound of burnt mothballs and dread. Earl stood there, panting, holding the empty canister like a trophy. Lizzo strutted over, putting her hand on his ass, and said, You know what this means, right? That we need to restock the bug killer? No, you're getting a raise, baby. And a plaque. Earl, he who whacked the winged scum. I'm putting it right next to no dancing after midnight. Back inside, the jukebox kicked on again. This time with Bad to the Bone, the truckers clapped. One even started a fundraiser for Earl's retirement. The van was still smoldering, the fake moth half melted like a sad pinata. Dr. Cypress reappeared covered in soot but alive, hanging from a traffic light by his belt. Fascinating, he coughed. Interdimensional displacement. The creature wasn't from this earth. It was from another earth, the one where insects won the evolutionary war. Sure, Doc, Lizzo said, handing him a coffee. Here, add 2 creams. You'll look like you've seen the devil. I did see the devil, he whispered, and he had compound eyes. Lizzo smirked, looked out at the dark highway, and said, Well, as long as you don't mess with my profits, he can keep on flying. And that night, at the ass crack of America, peace returned to the iron wheel until the next weird thing rolled in because Lizzo's truck stopped. The coffee was strong, the fries were greasy. Skip out on the tab. Earl will never retire. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Crackers. Good seeing you, buddy. He did get his round in, didn't you? I had to do it. I had to make Earl he had to get the fight in, you know? Yes, I write these, Lindsay. Orion, what's up, my friend? Getting crazy with the cheese whiz. Thank you, Amanda. I don't know if you heard me earlier, but I apologize for not texting you because I was sick, so sick. I barely did shit. Earl is a machine, Jager. He is awesome, Aramik. Not as awesome as you, though. Earl does like baby oil, though. He does like baby oil, Jarrett. He gets a little crazy with the baby oil. But, you know, that's life. Stupid is as stupid does. No, I heard that Diddy learned all he knew from Earl. Earl and Lizzo get a little freaky. They do get a little freaky deaky. Maggie Mayhem, have a good night. Thank you for joining us tonight. It was nice of you being here. I just like envisioned that. You want it? That's fucked up. Like I really envisioned Earl and Lizzo getting freaky deaky on the fucking vinyl booth, like full on X-rated freaky deaky. I gotta wash my fucking brain now. Ugh. It's always a fun time, Lindsay. And like I say in the thing, the comments are so great. Like the comment section, everybody's awesome in the comment section. They definitely can't. They definitely can't. Lucas Williams, how are you, my friend? 59th. A romance novel, a little rom-com, a little bit of a rom-com. Ew. All right, this is it. January 1st, 2026. Barker Reservoir area, Texas, United States. My friend and I were biking on an unlit trail between two neighborhoods at approximately 7:40 p.m. The trail is surrounded by a light to medium tree density. We had an encounter with a humanoid that has left us both deeply unsettled. We are looking for any explanations or similar reports in this region of Texas. While biking, we saw a small but blindingly bright white light ahead of us. It was a small in the center as a standard flashlight, but significantly brighter than a car headlight. When we stopped and pointed our bike lights towards it, the light instantly turned off. Approximately 2 seconds, the entity moved about 90 feet to get behind a tree close to us. The speed was a complete blur. About 2.5 feet across, but it was too wide for the trunk to be fully obscured. We yelled at it and pointed our flashlights directly at it, but it remained perfectly still. Aramaic! Not a single flinch or movement. As we turned our bikes to run, we heard a single, very heavy crunch of leaves, which sounded like a physical stomp. Description: height was approximately 6'8". Proportions: this most disturbing detail was the arm length. The upper portion of its arm, shoulder to elbow, was about 3 feet long. The limbs were solid and muscular, approximately 5 to 6 inches thick. Posture: it appeared to have arms crossed over its chest while standing behind the tree. The skin or suit had a distinct green or sheen to it, very similar to a synthetic material or dark green bomber jacket. Behavior: it did not react like a human or known animal. It showed no fear, made no vocalization, and used a very high intensity light source that did not seem to like a standard consumer flashlight. Anyway, that's our experience. Thank you. Aramaic, thank you so much, my friend. Key West, he does not pick who. YouTube puts out who gets it. Aramaic doesn't pick. Eunice, how are you, dear? Dr. Ruth on the boombox. When you put the penis in the vagina. Mr. Shackleneck, thank you so much. Why did I fucking say that? What the fuck is wrong with me? I remember Dr. Ruth. That was so funny. I have to wait for a gas thief now. Oh, shit. Get him, Wiley. Get him. Thank you, Shackleneck. I love you, brother. Booberry. I'm glad you got a membership. Thank you for popping in. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Tyler 420, are you still here? Ew. Was that her last name, Dr. Ruth Joyner? There you are, Tyler 420. When you put the penis in the vagina, I am Dr. Ruth. I'm glad that you're here, Booberry. Oh, knitting artisan. How to attract the Dogman? You really don't. They just, they're in the woods. You don't leave gifts for them like Bigfoot. I wouldn't recommend doing anything like that. But definitely not something you want to attract, because once they're there, they don't leave, It's like something, and it's definitely all right, Tyler. This one I found for you. All right. I thought of you when I actually shared this like 4 years ago, and I dug it out after our interview because I wanted to share this with you. RM and 3 other men were attempting to harvest a marijuana crop planted in a cornfield on the night of October 27th or October 14th. The silage corn that year stood about 8 to 10 feet in height. With feed corn harvest about to take place, it was time to pull the cash crop. The field, located just south of an old cemetery, Bethel Union Pioneer Cemetery, situated along Creemore Avenue in Clearview Township, Ontario. We got out into the field and fanned out. I was the furthest to the right. Straight ahead in the distance, I saw a blue flash of light that originated from the cemetery. It appeared to be 10 to 15 feet off the ground. Then I heard a loud crashing thump as if something heavy had fallen. A few hundred feet to my left, the same thing happened, a blue ring-shaped flash of light. These creatures tore out of the trees and into the cornfield at an incredible speed, faster than any living creature I'd ever seen. They moved supernaturally fast. Whatever they were began to bluff charge all 3 of us, and stopped just outside of our line of sight, maybe 2 or 3 rows of corn away. They were big as grizzly bear and fast as a race car. They moved between my friends and I. Then I saw the head and shoulders of one of them. It had a large wolf-like head with pointed ears and broad shoulders. The head had no neck, and it was situated directly on its shoulders. It was a terrifying sight. There was no doubt in my mind as to what I had just seen. It was 10 feet away at most, then just charged me from the front and left, while my buddy's dog came from the right. I almost shot the dog, who was losing her mind at the moment, whimpering and whining, shaking profusely. At this point, I started to pray to Jesus, and instantly the 2 dog-like creatures, or whatever they were, turned and bolted back into the cornfield toward the cemetery. Afterward, my friends and I regrouped, and they mentioned that they had also been charged. The guy who had driven us there claimed he had too. I told him I had as well. I continued praying as I looked in the direction I had seen them run off. We just stood there, and we had a serious job to do with thousands of dollars of weed to harvest. We finished up and prepared to leave. However, they doubled back around us while my friend and I were struggling to drag a large blue tarp along the tractor access road. We passed a large brush. One of the creatures was right there. My friend screamed, "There's a wolf!" As I looked up, I saw it running like a man on two legs. The creature was 10 feet into the woods and stopped dead in its tracks. My friend and I were ready to go, and I asked, "Is it coming back to get us?" I started to pray aloud again, but nothing else happened. We managed to drag everything to the car. Since it was a small hatchback, someone had to stay behind. I thought, this is great. There is something seriously wrong. I kept it at bay. My friends did not know that I had been praying, so I felt I was the one to stay back and behind. I believe the Holy Spirit was protecting me. I felt it strongly. So, my friend's dog and I stayed behind and spent the next hour on the road. While she whined and cried in panic, I was praying and holding my ground. I noticed one creature pacing back and forth behind the embankment at the field's entrance. Another creature was on the opposite side of the entrance road, hidden behind a large blackberry bush that hung over a ditch no more than 10 feet from us. The dog was so distressed that I thought she may have a heart attack. Every time I see her now, I know she remembers that night. She gives me a look and starts to shake. Since that day, she has formed a strong bond with me. I have never been so relieved as when I finally saw those headlights come back over that hill and my friend pulled up to get us. It felt like we had been waiting forever, but in reality, it was probably no more than an hour. When we got back, my friend said, "Did you see the size of that dog, bro?" I just replied that I didn't want to talk about it. Thank you for allowing me to share. Richard Gere, did he have a gerbil up his butt when you watched the movie? Oh, knitting is nice. I need a. That's a good theory on that, Lindsay. That's a good theory. About the Jews. Oh shit. My dog just caught a mouse. I hope he doesn't eat it. Is Pops going to bed or is Amanda going to bed? Good night, Pops. See you next week. See, I kind of agree with the I'd love an Afghan. I'd pay you for the Afghan if you ever want to knit me one. Um I have my own theory on the crawler is that so I have like with the one that you said, the kind of European crawler that people see with kind of the ears, um, the kind of grayish green looking creature. I think that I agree with you on that, with the demonic thing like that. But I for some reason my theory is that these things, not the ones with the ears that the Europeans write about and have seen and that people do still see to this day, but the crawlers that are spotted around military bases and like China Lake. There's the China Lake facility. where there's a deep underground facility there. They do eugenics, they do genetic manipulation and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of these things are created from the kidnapped men, women, and children, mixed with like DNA of the reptilian and gray, because so many people have seen them, and they act almost like a guard, you know. I remember when I interviewed Laura Eisenhower, and I asked her about crawlers, and she had no idea what I was talking about, which I felt kind of weird. Um, Interesting woman, but I just thought it was weird that she didn't know what a crawler was, considering that these fucking things look just like a reptilian and a gray. What's a yarble holder? Bat Boy! I fucking love Bat Boy! Bat Boy is great. There's the guy that JR and his dad from New Mexico, Silver City, those two guards that shot one. So yeah. Knitting artisan, yeah, if you want, I'll gladly pay you for one. My grandma had one that was black. I remember it was like black and like yellow and red and green. And I've seen them on like Etsy or whatever. And like I've always wanted one. I forget when my grandma died. I think my cousin, the fucking asshole, got it. I should have got it because I was the favorite grandchild. I'm always the favorite. I'm just kidding. Bat Boy was so great. Please do. My email, 59th, just put it down there. It's right under Mr. Shackleneck in those in 59th. Yarbles are those things you shake to set them free. My balls? Tyler. I will try to, Andy. I really will try to. I'm always shaking those suckers during the live stream because I'm sitting so long. I'm fucking sticking right now. What time is it? Oh, we're doing 2 hours. This is better than the last 2 weeks, man. I am fucking ahead of the game tonight. Yes, sir. The Upstate Shake. Summer of 2019, I was approximately... Oh, I already read that one. Why is that out still? Is Aramek in here still? Aramek, there he is. This one is for you and your vast research that you have done on the cryptid, the Mothman. If it wasn't for your research, the United States, no, the world would not know what we know on the Mothman because of Aramek. February 21st, 2020, while on duty as a security guard at O'Hare International, I witnessed something unusual. My task involved routine escorts for trucks coming in and out of the airport. Many of the trucks deliver cargo or for outbound flights and must have an escort. It was around 10 p.m. I was assigned to escort a truck to the post office unloading facility and wait for it to be unloaded. While doing so, I stepped out of my vehicle for a cigarette break when something caught my eye near the fence. Concerned that it might be someone attempting to climb over, I decided to investigate. We had experienced a few incidents recently which individuals trespassed onto the airport grounds, either to observe the planes or, as reported multiple times, to look for the Mothman. We're instructed to report and escort any trespassers off the premises. I assumed this situation would be similar to the previous, approaching the individuals, informing them that they're trespassing, and then escorting them away. My colleagues and I knew how to handle these scenarios and be firm yet professional. As I approached the fence, I was startled to see what appeared to be a very tall, not entirely human figure. It was solid black, glowing red eyes, and had an impressive pair of wings that spanned at least 10 feet from tip to tip. I exited my vehicle and shone my flashlight on it. The creature responded with an ear-piercing screech that reminded me of train brakes, loud and high-pitched. Then it turned away from me and flew straight up into the sky like a bullet. I watched as it soared, its wings flapped until it faded into the darkness. Just before it disappeared completely, I heard it screech one more time, and then it was gone. Returning to the dock, I informed a staff member of my encounter, and they said others had seen it as well. After waiting for the truck to be ready, I escorted it back and reported the incident to my supervisor. He dismissed my sighting, suggesting that it may have been a giant owl, but advised me to be careful during my night shifts, which I found odd. I know what I saw was not an owl, and it genuinely frightened me. Anyway, that's my experience. I definitely know it was not an owl, a giant bat, or anything other than what I saw. Thank you. It was fucking what was the fucking name of Arthur? It was Arthur from The Tick. Oh. God damn. It was Arthur from The Tick. Damage, then you got one hell of a playlist. Tommy, how are you? Long time no see, dear. Oh, nothing better than Mexican Coke. We missed you, Tommy. Damn it. It's definitely Faith No More over Red Hot Chili Peppers. Give that shit away now. Shit. All right. Black-eyed kid story. Let me check and see if I got it. I got Amber's. I got. Can you try to send it again, Ned? I did not get it. My email is messed up. Google messes with me really bad. Let me check I'll check my spam, but I don't get things to my spam often. Hang on one second. Spammy. Oh, I got it in my spam. Holy shit. Move to inbox. Oop, there we go. All right, I got it. I got it. Thank you. I'll look at it after and send you an email. Nobody will do it. Dude, that's fucking great. Damage, you're going to bed already? Earlier this month, to celebrate the 4th of July, I was having a few drinks with my parents, and as we were discussing several different topics, we eventually stumbled into sharing some ghost stories. I mean, we've all heard each other's usual stories before. I can write them down verbatim. My dad's encounter with an elf, which I always find myself chuckling doubtful at. But that night, I brought up something that I have struggled to come to terms with for years. This took place when I was around 10 years old. I'm 25 now, so this was about 15 years ago. To give you perspective of time, my friends lived in different neighborhoods around town. So, since I was really the only kid of my age group who lived in this little part of suburb, I would occupy my free time by riding my Little Mermaid bicycle on the streets. I hope you're a boy. It was a very lax part of the township, typical of the residential area that surrounded the city. One summer evening, I was wasting some time before dinner pedaling my bicycle on the street. When I was rolling to a T-shaped intersection that I would always stop, turn around at, I noticed two girls at my age sitting peacefully in front of the house opposite intersection, almost as if they were aware of my intimate arrival. Both were wearing light-colored nightgowns, which I thought was a bit strange considering the time of day. I can't recall if they were twins. Something tells me that they were, but I can't remember much detail about their faces at all. As I got closer to the intersection on my bike, they called out to me cheerfully, beckoning me with jubilant arm motions to come forward, and I did. I felt a rush of excitement toil over me at the thought of having a couple new friends to play with. So I really wasn't asking why they were outside in nightgowns or even where they came from. You see, the people that owned the house behind them were quite elderly. I mean, I rarely ever see them outside of their house. The edges of the property were quite overgrown, which made the house look neatly nestled away from the road. The only thing I thought was strange at the time was the slight hill that was their front yard covered in decorative river rocks, the ones that were smoothly molded by the water, and they looked like dinosaur eggs. That's what the girls were sitting on, barefoot and in nightgowns. How uncomfortable, I thought. They were both talking to me, telling me I should come and play with them. And I said I'd love to, but I would have to take my bike home first and let my mom know where I'd be. They seemed less than thrilled at that idea, and they were definitely trying their hardest to coax me into staying there with them, telling me I did not need to tell my mom and that she wasn't far away. I insisted that I would be back shortly and hopped on my bike and pedaled home. When I arrived at the house, I threw my bike onto the grass, ran to the front door, opened it partially, and asked my mom if it was all right if I played with the two girls up the street. My mom turned around, visibly confused, but agreed. So I went back. I rode up to the house at the intersection. They weren't there. I was a little disappointed. I even felt bad for having to run home first. I walked my bike up the driveway and proceeded to walk up to the door, knocking gently. An elderly woman opened the door, and I told her the girls asked if I could play with them. What girls? Sheila asked, puzzled. The two girls that were just outside of your house a minute ago. They asked if I could play with them. No kids here. You know, you're the only kid on the street, and shut the door. I never saw or heard the girls again. As I was telling this story to my parents, I paused midway to make a disclaimer that I wasn't sure if this was some kind of extreme detail dream and that I had mixed up with thought. My mom, though, she told me I actually remembered the day because she never remembered any children living on the street besides me, and it stuck out as weird that I asked to play with the two girls up the road. After explaining this to my parents, I did some research. Apparently, the phenomenon of supernatural beings disguised as children, black-eyed children, an urban legend. I had no knowledge of these beings before. Although it's been debunked, I will say it's eerily similar to what I experienced with these girls. I don't remember them having black eyes. In fact, it's almost as if their faces were blurred. They weren't acting ominous or intimidating, but they wanted me to stay in the worst way. ghosts, glitch in the matrix, black-eyed children, or whatever. I'm struggling to find an example or an explanation. They were acting weird. Why would they want the girl to stay? Don't tell your mom. You're okay. That's weird. Ooh, I want candy. Yeah, there's no doubt that there's dogmen in Michigan. There's dogmen in every state of America, pretty much every country in the world. I don't know. I think they were definitely there. I don't know if they were black-eyed kids. I think they were demonic. Demonic little fuckers. All right. Dogmen in Hawaii. I did an upload on it. There's actually if you look up dog people of Hawaii, Cynthia, there's a legend and lore of a dog-headed race of people that live in Hawaii or had lived in Hawaii. That upload I butchered every word that was Hawaiian though. Holy shit, that was hard too. And it was sucked because I couldn't look up. There's dogmen in Kansas. There's dogmen in every state. There's in every country. Like these creatures are everywhere. But I like looked up the words to like pronounce properly, and Google wouldn't share Hawaiian, like the Hawaiian lingo with me. I was really fucking mad. How about the last lot lizard story of the night, my friends? The last lot lizard story of the night. Dude, send me an email, Devin. I'd like to hear that, if you don't mind. Please. That sounds really interesting. Please, please. Because literally my Dogman experience in 1994 is the reason why I am obsessed with everything strange, paranormal, supernatural, and like it's changed my life for the better and the worst. Yeah, definitely, Nicola. Please do, Lindsay. I think I just heard Tigger. Let me check and see. Buddy? Nope. No Tigger. Last lot lizard story of the night. In the heart of Alaska's icy expanse, where the thermometer dared to dip below -40 and the wind howled like a banshee with arthritis, stood Lizzo's frozen fortress. It wasn't just a truck stop, it was a legend. A diesel scented oasis for long haul drivers, drifters, and the occasional prostitute looking for a warm bed. though warm was a relative term in the state where the permafrost didn't take kindly to visitors. Lizzo was the kind of woman who made Mother Nature pause and reconsider her bad day. A 6 foot tall ball of fury with locks like braided lava and a voice that could clear a room or fill it, depending on her mood. She ran the place like a general and a madam combined. By day, she flipped burgers, barked orders at Earl, her grumpy mechanic partner in crime, and collected protection fees from the truck stop's less scrupulous regulars. By night, she reigned as the lot lizard queen, overseeing the clandestine network of truck stop tryists and bartending secrets over a bourbon. Normalcy, Lizzo had once explained to a rookie cop who'd asked about a half dozen trucks parked suspiciously near the restroom, is just a fancy word for boring, and boring's not in my wheelhouse. That particular day had started like most, a line of semis idling in the slush, the diner's neon sign flickering like it owed money, and Lizzo bickering with Earl over the state of the plumbing. His toilet's been clogged since '09, Earl grumbled, wrench in hand, his breath puffing like a dragon. Probably since the last guy's business is still there. Then you better fix it, or I'll sell your stash of powdered orange juice to the trolls, Lizzo shot back, flipping a burger so hard it nearly launched into orbit. But as the sun sank behind the snow-capped mountains, the temperature dropped a few more notches, and the horizon glowed with an ethereal shimmer of the northern lights. The diner's patrons, truckers, drifters, and Paige, a prostitute with a penchant for neon wigs and voices, settled in for a quiet night. They didn't know it, but the aurora's green and violet hues were about to get a horrifying accompaniment. It started with a howl, not the kind that escapes a wolf, but something deeper, guttural and ancient, the kind of sound that makes your teeth ache and your spine seize up. Then came the crunching footsteps, each one shaking the frozen ground as a colossal snowman trudged through the parking lot. He wasn't cute, not in the least. Standing taller than the semi-trailers, his body was a mountain of packed snow, his eyes two glowing coals, and his smile a jagged crack across his face. But what really turned the blood to ice, pun intended, was the frozen cock and balls dangling between his legs like a glacial monument to inappropriate anatomy. Is that a dick made of snow? One trucker whispered, dropping fries. Yep, Lizzo said, squinting through the diner window. And if I had to bet, I'd say that's a bad day. The snowman paused, snow dust snowboarding down its slope. The snow dust snowboarding down its slopes. Then he sniffed, a sound like a blizzard being contained, and he jerked his head toward Paige, who had been leaning against the soda machine mid-sip of beer. Paige said slowly, edging sideways. Lizzo, hold my beer, Lizzo said, sprinting to the back door. But it was too late. The snowman had lunged. With a crunch, he crunched Paige's skull like an eggshell, snow and ice speckling the diner's windows. Patrons screamed as the snowman reared back, his hands shaped like giant ice balls the size of car tires. He hurled one at a parked semi, shattering the windshield and sending the rig careening into a fuel pump. Another ice ball slammed into a propane tank, igniting a plume of fire that lit up the aurora like a disco ball. That's my buddy's truck, one trucker wailed. Calm down, honey. I'll get you a new truck with a hatchback, Lizzo yelled, back yanking a terrified Earl to the storage closet. What do you want to do? He's got a frozen god, Earl yelped, clutching the mop like a lightsaber. Lizzo's eyes narrowed. He's a snowman, and snowmen melt unless they got magic. She grabbed a dusty tool off the shelf. Ever held a flamethrower? Once. My beard caught fire, Earl said. Perfect. Armed with a flamethrower, donated by the government, left behind by some contractor, Lizzo and Earl stormed into the parking lot. The snowman now paraded like a peacock, jiggling his icy junk for the terrified crowd. Look at me, it seemed to be saying. Stop being cocky bastard, Lizzo muttered, priming the flamethrower. The first jet of flame hit the snowman in the chest, sending off a plume of steam and smoke. He roared a sound like avalanches and broken teeth, staggered toward them. Hot stuff, huh? Lizzo taunted, letting loose another blast. How does this frozen ass melt? Earl, in a moment of inspired lunacy, started dancing the Macarena to distract the thing. 1 can, 2, 3 can. The snowman grabbed him. I'm not a can, Earl screamed, wiggling free as the jet of flame melted the snow down his legs. The snowman's junk began to sag, dripping like a thawing popsicle. I'm going to melt you till you're just a wet dream, Lizzo bellowed, laughing maniacally as the final blast engulfed the snowman. In seconds, he was gone, just a puddle of water reflecting in the northern lights. The only sign of the horror was a half-melted hat floating on the sludge. Earl, panting, looked at Lizzo. You know, I've done a lot of weird stuff for you, but I gotta pee. She smirked. Go ahead, it's a new record. He approached the puddle, lifted his leg, and let loose a stream of urine into the icy remains of the snowman. Peace out, Mr. Snowcock, he whooped. Lizzo clapped. Best boss ever. As the sun rose, the patrons of the diner filled out, traumatized but unharmed. A new sign now hung above the restrooms. Please flush. Earl's pride and joy are already on the line. And somewhere in the Alaskan wilderness, a new rumor spread of a truck stop where the snowman visits if you leave your beers out too long. Tyler. Thank you, STL. Thank you, Smitty. That's where I want to go. I want to, like, New Mexico is my dream place. Well, where I live is my dream place, but New Mexico, I want to go there. I want to stay there for a couple years. I want to go to like the Four Corner region. I want to travel all around New Mexico though. And then I want to go on like one of those cruises in Alaska. But I want it to be like, I don't know, like a month long so I can just like throw my kayak off the fucking cruise ship and just jump in and kayak around. I think that'd be great. I didn't think you guys would like tonight's stories. I really like, I felt like shit all week, so it was like really hard to write them. I'd do it, Andy Davis. I know what you meant, buddy. I know what you meant. Sounds like a plan, Sonia. No, there was nothing suspicious about his death. He had cancer. He had cancer. The Four Corners is definitely a strange place, but I don't know. I had a hard time believing a lot of what he said about the region. There's like a lot of other places throughout the state though. I'll remember his name. He used to do it with his daughter and son-in-law. Yeah, he did. Yeah. No, it wasn't Louis L'Amour. Who the fuck was it? I'm trying to think. It's escaping me right now. Uh, I don't know. I'll remember it. Fuck. He had a brain aneurysm. He had a brain aneurysm, you know. I think he was just sick. I don't think anything suspicious about Scott Carpenter's death. I think it's a tragedy, but I don't think like I I don't think I mean, he had some amazing videos, but I don't think like his death was like I think Claudia Ackley's death was suspicious. But Scott Carpenter's I don't think it was. I think it was sudden, like a brain aneurysm is. I think it's tragic. Um, but he had been out of the field for so long, he wasn't pushing buttons. So I don't think it was that. Claudia Ackley definitely was pushing buttons though. Um, I don't know. It's sad. It was sad how quick, like, boom, and then I feel bad for his son. I could never imagine losing my dad that quick, like losing a parent that quick. Like 1 minute they're there, the next minute they're gone. Because he had did like a live stream like 2 days beforehand, I believe, which is so crazy. Yeah, yeah. Johnny, can you send me that? That's who it was. JC Johnson. That's who it was. Yeah, email. Could you email it to me, Johnny? Do you need my email? It's gonna take me a minute to type it out. Hang on. 59th beat me. 59th beat me. Brother, as long as you're spending time with your kids, Andy, that's all that matters, bro. As long as you're spending time with your kids, that's all that freaking matters. Spend it while you got it. Trust that. All right. Last experience of the night. At the time I was living in New Hampshire, it was November 2015, and I felt an evil, opposing, unstoppable force had been placed upon me. I had no idea who or what it was until a year and a half later. I was being targeted for destruction by a demonic being with supernatural powers. I sat back and watched as the game played out, unleashing satanic wrath upon my life. It assured that I was left entirely alone, tormenting and torturing me until I found myself with no possessions, job, or any life successes. This entity would torture me in various ways, such as tapping all over my body, giving me scabies, not allowing me to recover, leaving me with incessant itching. It manipulated the environment around me, turning leaves on the trees and bushes and even pictures into disturbing images. One night I went so far as to even burn characters into my skin, leaving me with burning, itching, and swelling. When I tried to use a supernatural app to locate the being, I now believe it interfered with it, for the attacks intensified, almost as if I could see the events unfolding. One night when I took a torch to defend myself, it somehow woke my mother, which is unheard of since she is an alcoholic. She witnessed my experiences without grasping the true meaning and now thinks I was a complete craziness. This entity deliberately leaves me alone to carry out its destruction, and every time I capture my experiences on film, it assures that I cannot show anyone the horrific reality of what is happening to me. It laid out on this day of healing with songs I believe were from an angel, leading me to think that there was a heavenly purpose at work. Yet, time again, it engineered scenarios using mind control, causing items to magically appear while manipulating technology, and anything or anyone could use it. It took pleasure in watching me go on this wild goose chase to failure. As each scenario led to devastation, it creates another trap to manipulate and deceive me. Now that I have tried every logical avenue to understand who or why this is happening, I have figured out that this identity and I have figured out its identity and motives. One by one, it targets humanity in this evil game of destruction and will not leave its victims until it claims victory as a master. Its arrogance, selfishness, and sinister evil drives it to do whatever is necessary for as long as it takes until the victims are pushed to the edge of despair. Now that it knows I am aware of its tactics, it has introduced new tormenting techniques aimed at my destruction, exploiting the fact that no one believes the truth of its existence or the wicked games it does play. I think this being has been operating in this manner for a long time, safeguarding its existence at all costs to continue its reign of terror with no survivors. It needs to be stopped. I have realized that it still possesses my strength, resilience, bravery, and ability to stand up for myself. I've now become an unstoppable force that I will confront it, determined to expose this demonic creature and supernatural powers if it wields against to destroy us one by one. Sounds like you're messing with a demon, buddy. All right, guys, what a live stream we had tonight. You know what? I don't want to ending it yet. Fuck this. I'm not ending it yet. We're having too much fun. I'm not ending this yet. It was vague, wasn't it? It was really fucking vague. I didn't like how vague it was. All right. Back in the years of 98 to 2011, my friends Willie Andrews and my cousin and I love to go fishing in the Mercedes Risa, where there's a beautiful waterfall view during the day, and it seems like a normal pond. But if you go really early at dawn before sunrise, the pond takes a totally different view. It takes your imagination back to prehistoric times, because at that time you're surrounded by water banks, brush, and a waterfall that makes you imagine you're back in prehistoric days. Well, that's what I imagine. Makes me wonder. So by sunrise, we unpacked our fishing gear and decided to camp there the whole day. The day passed normally without incident. We had good catches, and by dusk, we decided to pack our fishing gear and put away everything in the trunk of the car, call it a night. Before we left, we decided to gut the fish there. After cutting open all of the fish and washing them in the pond, as dusk approached, we're getting ready to get into the car when all of a sudden, my friend sees this big dark silhouette emerge from the middle of the pond. Its neck stood up just like the Loch Ness Monster. We all saw it still. It started to swerve its neck looking towards us. We got so scared that all four of us were frozen in fear. After 20 seconds, that seemed like an eternity, the thing emerged back into the water. And all of us snapped out of it. We ran to the car and sped out of there. We were shaking uncomfortably. After driving quite a while, my friend pulls over at the Stripe store to get something to drink. We all calm ourselves down. After the experience, we never went back to that fishing pond again. Independently, independently, that pond has a beautiful waterfall, just in case you ever wonder. It's located in Mercedes, Texas, on the back roads. All right, this one looks better. Here we go. Looks better written, too. I will never forget the night of August 14th, 2021. I was fishing the river with a friend in the suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota. We loved coming to this public park to fish because it is quiet and there is a nice sandbar to fish from. This park had a Sioux burial mound about a half mile from our spot. After fishing for the better part of the day, we decided to leave at dusk. In order to get back to our vehicles, we had to take a trail through the woods, which is about a 5-minute walk. I put the clip on the light on my bill of my hat so I could see the trail. I remember when I first glanced ahead down the trail, I saw 2 singular white lights and assumed they were fireflies. Once we got further down the trail, we were closer to the area where we had seen the fireflies. It was then that I saw a pair of eyes that were either highly reflective from my light or glowing white. It wasn't long before I could make out a body. It was a very large white body on all 4 legs, bigger than a wolf, but unnaturally skinny. I could not make any facial features because its eyes were so bright. I wanted to warn my friend, but all I could manage to say is there's something there. We had no choice but to proceed because this is the only way back to our vehicles. This thing just stared us down, but did not make a sound. My friend yelled at it to try and scare it away, but it did not react at all. I yelled at it after she did, and it responded back, mimicking my voice. I honestly questioned myself and thought I was imagining things. So I yelled at it again, and it responded back with the same volume, same pitch, exactly same voice as mine. At this point, we realized this was not an animal. We both continued on the path in silence, but I maintained eye contact with this creature. I felt like this thing was ready to attack us at any moment, but it just stood there staring. Eventually, we were out of the woods. We could no longer see its eyes. We made it back to our vehicles, and we felt the sense of relief. I asked my friend, "Did you hear that thing talk back to us?" She said she did, and it sounded like my voice when it responded to us. If she hadn't heard the voices, I would have assumed I had imagined it. We went over what happened, and our stories were the same, except she said the creature had a wolf-like head. After our experience, my friend, who is Hmong, went to see a shaman. The shaman believed it was cleansing on her. She was still shaken up by the experience several weeks later. I tried to hire a spiritual advisor online, but I described the experience and asked for a spiritual cleansing of my own. It said there was none. It said they were not available at this time. At the advice of one of my friends, I burned some tobacco and said a prayer, and the entity would leave me alone. It took me several months just to feel normal again, but I still think about it on a weekly basis. I tried to do further research and contacted the management of the park. They said the park we went had an ancient Indian remains scattered along the river and were unmarked. They said there were more Indian remains in that park than any other parks they'd managed. I contacted several Native American friends, and they told me the entity we encountered was quite possibly a shapeshifter. Now I know it wasn't a skinwalker because, after all, they are native culture. But what I have read, they definitely checks to be a skinwalker, more boxes than any. Thank you for allowing me to share. All right. We will call it a night now, my friends. We lasted a lot longer than last week. I am so glad. I kind of chuckled at that too, Zach. That was kind of funny. Get me a spiritual advisor. What's up, Neutrino? All right, guys, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I had such fun. I love you all. And I hope to see you guys next week. I hopefully will be back to my full potential, and we can rock out for a full 3 hours. So you're good, Andy. You're good. I don't think you did. You're good. Enjoy your time with the kids. Tell them I said hi, and have a good night and be good for their dad. All right, guys, I'm hitting the hay. I love you all. Have a blessed night. Thank you for hanging out with me. I couldn't ask for a better night. I'm so happy we had a good live stream tonight. The last two were shitty, and I'm so sorry. All right. Thank you once again.